I don't tell the whole story very often because it's kind of painful to go through it.
Michigan economist Patrick Anderson was in his hotel room on the 39th floor of one of the World Trade Center towers.
It generally starts with feeling the first plane hit the building. I mean, I still remember that feeling and that sound, and the fact that I just couldn't figure out what happened. Like most people, it's just like you didn't know, you could not figure out what happened. But I had this feeling of doom. I guess like this is very, very bad. People are going to die, maybe me, almost immediately.
There had been an announcement in the hotel for all to stay in their rooms, which at that moment looked much better than what Patrick saw outside his window.
It was terrible, obviously, Deb, when you saw dead people and you saw fire. I mean, it was awful. And there's no easy way to say that. And usually I just leave that out. But if you looked outside, you already saw dead people. I'm sitting there and I'm going, well, they said stay in your room, and logically that makes sense, but I'm feeling this doom, and this is terrible. And I know people are already dying, and I'm going through my mind, what do I do? I'm sitting there and I'm putting my shoe on it, and then I just like, it's time to go. And I didn't even put the other shoe on, and I left. It made total sense to me that they were saying stay in your room. And if you looked outside, you could see that if you were outside, you could die. So that made sense. Now, I ended up leaving my room. And I still remember, I mean, for me, it felt like I was tapped on my shoulder by an angel. I said, get out now, or we'll see you not in this world.
One shoe on his foot, the other in his hand, he made a run for his life. At the bottom of the World Trade Center, where the three towers met, it was chaos. People racing out, first responders rushing in, and unwitting subway riders arriving at what can only be described as the wrong stop.
I'll never forget, the getting out of the building and then finally realizing what was happening only after I got out of the building and looked up. And then just that moment of realizing that people were actually trying to kill everybody was a horrible moment. And that for me was as I'm running out of the World Trade Center and the second plane going right over my head.
Perhaps 5 seconds after he came out of the building, the second plane hit. He raced across the street to hide underneath a garbage truck as the crash debris and jet fuel began to rain fire down below. Patrick figures he made it with about 2, maybe 3 seconds to spare.
That was the moment where, for me, time stood still, and I could not reconcile the fact that this plane was heading directly at the building that I was running out of. I was stopping seconds because I didn't want to admit what I was looking at.
But the fight for survival was hardly over. He would need to get much farther from the buildings, of course, ahead of their collapse. And 3 first responders were the next guardian angels to arrive for Patrick, guiding him to the first moment when he realized he was going to come out of this alive. His angels did not.
But I remember, 3 firefighters that were there that got me out. They didn't get out.
That's a lot to live with, isn't it?
I've got a crime scene bag that the New York Police Department got and sent to me months afterwards. It has some like a part of a briefcase of mine and a picture and everything. And I just can't open the thing. And last time I do, I just remember that World Trade Center smell. And so that's a powerful reminder. But I don't need that. I don't need the smell to remind me.
I'm wondering which is the stronger pull for you as we hit 20 years, the horror of what you saw that day or the way that the nation came together?
That's a good question. I'd have to say the good triumphs over evil. People get up and do that in America, and I'm quite happy to be an American and proud of that. And the fact that we went through 9/11 and that never changed is a source of happiness for me.
It is not easy for Patrick Anderson to talk about it. It certainly won't be on the anniversary, and yet he will, and knows he must.
You can't let down that angel, Patrick.
That's right. I'm going to remember that, Devin. That's a good point. Can't let that angel down.